Rocket talk.
We'll do Rocket.
Shocked you have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, because I've been away.
Trey, it's more DeJounte beef.
All right, so it's DeJounte beef. So I should reword that on the description of the video. DeJounte always has.
Yeah, I think Trey was the one who kind of post game, not turned it into beef, but him and Trey and Jalen and Kevin were all kind of like.
Explain the situation once we get to it. But I really wanted to talk about this man, Sengun. Okay, Sengun. Last year, pre-draft, he had two comparisons. The easy one people were going to say was an undersized Enes Kanter. That's just because they're from Turkey. That's you being lazy and doing no work. The more realistic one was a fresh out of college Minnesota Timberwolves Kevin Love, which I think that was my favorite comparison, because if you had a 3-point shot, everyone would be like, this kid's Kevin Love 2.0. Just a way better rebounder. And he started the season off the bench, and that was primarily due to the fact that Bruno Fernando is a better rim protector, and this team doesn't have a legit 7-footer rim protector on their squad. But over the last few games, Alperen, god dang, this man is averaging almost 18 points a night as a starter. He's out here doing things, making people look stupid. And for me, I think it's just, you're looking at the Houston Rockets, and I think it's just we're starting to see the intangibles put together. You have a core of 4 guys at least. And I mean, I don't know if you're sold on Kevin Porter Jr., but at least 3 guys in Jabari Smith, Sengun, and Jalen Green. Throwing Kevin Porter Jr. and Jay Shantae, you got a 5-man roster right there. You also, off the bench, you have a few good prospects in KJ Martin, Josh Christopher, and Tari Eason. So you got 8 guys right there. And obviously, this is a team that sits at what now? Are they 4-14 or are they 4-15 now?
4-15. We might be 4-14. I'm on a little heater right now.
They are, and I think it's one thing that interests me about this squad is that the Rockets, Alperen Sengun, he's not stolen the thunder away from Jalen Green, but I think when you look at him, you just can't help and marvel at he's basically playing like a mini Jokic without a 3-point shot, and it's literally averaging a double-double, 18 and 10 almost, 3 assists a night, a block a game. Okay, and yes, the defense still needs work. Okay, but that's also that Houston's just below average on defense. But the offense over here, he's creating for everyone. Let me hear your thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Swaggy, I'll get to it in a sec. I mean, Sengun, it ended up being the Bruno Fernando injury was kind of a blessing in disguise, because it didn't seem like Silas was going to start this man, and Bruno went down in game 2 that I was at. And I like Bruno a lot, but, I think being more realistic, I think Sengun needs to get a lot more run. We'll see. Bruno's back now, so we'll see what the minutes look like. We'll see what the starting rotation looks like. I have a hard time believing Sengun can be put on the bench, but at the same time, we got Eric Chucker Gordon, who's taking threes anytime he gets the basketball and completely just makes the offense stall out. When KJ Martin Jr., when Eric was out on, Saturday, went for career high in almost everything. So, I'm not too sold on Stephen Silas if he's going to be able to give Sengun these opportunities. But yeah, he's, I think the next Hakeem Olajuwon is what we like to say about him. But you can tell him working with him in the offseason, and working with one of the greatest centers of all time is going to, not everybody gets that opportunity. One-on-one work. Played overseas as well.
I think helped Dwight Howard's offensive game.
Yeah, right. I think we need to see Sengun be involved in the offense. There were some games to start the season, like the first one, Sengun didn't play too well, but they weren't really working with him, working the offense through him. He's a great passer. He does make some bad passes. He's very young. He's 20 years old, but
he has so many hockey assists.
Yeah, exactly. I really think he's vital. He's good in the pick and roll. Defensively, I do see the point, and that's why Bruno Fernando was getting the starts. I think what the Rockets were maybe thinking was when we drafted Usman Garuba was to pair him with Alperen Sengun, because Garuba is kind of that guy who, I know he's not a 7-footer, but he's a phenomenal defender, and he already is a phenomenal defender. I'll wait and see with Sengun. I'm not too sold on trading for Miles Turner. I do like Sengun at the power forward position. I really do. So, if he can get that 3-point percentage up, it kind of seems almost like a Sabonis and Miles Turner type
Could
deal,
I give?
if that were to happen.
Could I give an idea? And I want to hear your opinion immediately after. And that is, what is your thoughts on Sengun at power forward and Jabari Smith at center, Jayshawn Tate at small forward, Jalen Green at shooting guard, and Kevin Porter Jr. at point guard? Would that help? Because Jabari Smith's a rim protector.
He's a really solid defender, man. He gets in those passing lanes. He's a great contester. He's long. He's lanky. I think we'll see we've seen a little bit of it. I like the experimentation of Jabari at the center. I don't know if necessarily that would work in the long run, but yeah, it's something that's worth, why not try it out? I don't, Tate, I think we're kind of seeing here is, he's a huge culture piece. Like if Jayshawn Tate hit a 3-point shot, man, he'd help out so much. We're seeing, dude, it sucks honestly watching the Rockets right now because and I know people I wish I could make a video with film in the background. But this offense is so bad sometimes, dude. It's just.
Are we on a point where it might be time to move on from Steven Silas?
Oh yeah, it's long past. I don't think the guys. I made a video on this and people were disagreeing with me. I'm like, I don't think any of the players know what they're supposed to be doing. I don't think they know what their role is. So having guys like Jabari and Jayshawn Tate out there, these are the guys that are going to be cutting. These are guys that are going to be setting off-ball screens. But what I see too much in the whole duration of the game with our starters is, Kevin Porter Jr. calls a pick and roll with Alperen Sengun. He either passes it or he doesn't. He takes a 3 or drives to the rim. It's not good basketball. I don't think Silas, they're not running plays. I'm not seeing any plays ran. So that's why I like when Jabari's out there. I like when Tari's out there. I like when we have Tate. I like when KJ's out there. As Swaggy's saying here, Silas is a nice guy. This wasn't why he was brought in.
Boo, you took what I was about to say. I was waiting for you. He was brought in to coach guys who were vets.
Yeah, and I think that it was a good idea because if you had the most efficient offense in NBA history with Luka Doncic and James Harden and Luka play the exact same way, I honestly think we're still playing James Harden basketball. And I don't like that at all because we don't have James Harden. There will be nights where Kevin and Jalen or one or the other are making their shots. They're making these clutch threes. They're making, they're getting calls, whatever the case may be, and we're going to win some basketball games. But so the offense looks horrible, man. Unless we're in transition, that's when guys kind of are passing the basketball.
We're seeing with a coach like Rick Carlisle how he's teaching proper fundamentals and the basics of basketball to young guys while incorporating vets. And the Pacers, it's a great, here, Swaggy, you said it best. It's the lack of structure. And I think you're seeing with good coaches, even with the Orlando Magic, it's still too hard to tell, but they make more sense what they're trying to do. They're trying to be huge. They're trying to be this massive team that switches deep, everything. But I look at the Rockets and they don't have an identity offensively or thing. We know that the Magic are trying to be this huge defensive team. We know that the Pacers are a team that they're going to kill you in transition, and they just have, athletic guys out on the perimeter who are able to not only score on the inside, but take the ball, coast to coast. And you look at other young teams that with Memphis, when they were rebuilding, we knew what they were trying to do. Okay. They were trying to be this long team that beats you, also similar to how the Pacers are structured, or Pacers are being similarly structured to the Grizzlies. And I think, and even with the Spurs, the Spurs are tanking brilliantly, but the Spurs even have an identity. They're playing Spurs ball. I just don't think you need a coach. I don't know who's the right coach, to be honest, but Willie Green. Look at what Willie Green did. Monty Williams.
Yeah, Silas to me should be long gone, and I think they will move on from him. And, it sucks because we all like Kevin Porter Jr., but I think we have our KPJ bias glasses on where he had such a hard.
I like KPJ. I'm in
I do
KPJ.
too.
Keep KPJ. There, you got him on a cheap deal. There's no reason to getting rid of him. Just keep, even if he becomes a backup. He's on a backup.
I think he should be the sixth man, and I think people hear six man and they're like, bench him. Like, what are you talking about? Dude, you know how valuable six men are? Like, these are guys who can go out there and their sole job is to get buckets. And that's exactly what I think KPJ thrives and strives in. Like, I think that's a perfect role for Kevin. And it doesn't even mean that, like, look at Manu Ginobili, right? Did he start basketball games for the San Antonio Spurs? Is he Hall of Famer? Did he close games? He closed the games.
He did start at one period, but then he went to defense because he knew it would help the team.
Every championship team needs these guys off the bench where you're either playing with guys who are not as good as you, second units, or you're playing with first unit and they're gassed, and you can just put your gas.
There's nothing wrong with being a bench player.
Exactly.
There's
nothing wrong with him. People, even the seventh man, people hear bench and they think it's like disrespect.
There's multiple backups in the NBA making the same amount of money as Kevin Porter Jr. Okay, so
like Tyler Hero, perfect bench player. Jordan Poole, perfect bench player.
So let's move on to what do you want to do right here? Lakers, Celtics.
That doesn't mean that they shouldn't be finishing these games.
Trae Young and DeJounte. So let's fill me in on this Trae Young, DeJounte Murray.
Trae and DeJounte. We played the Hawks a couple of days ago on Friday, and they went off. I don't remember exactly what they were doing, but I think DeJounte had like 43, Trae had like 46, or vice versa, something like that. They put up a unfathomable,
godly stats.
Yeah, they put up these crazy stats, and it wasn't even really this beef. It was more DeJounte made a three and patted Jabari on the head after he made it. And I personally think that's why we play basketball, is to trash talk and to gloat and to do your thing. And, I basically after the game, like they just kind of everyone just kind of was poking fun at each other on social media, the players, the guards on the team. But it was really cool to see, like, Jalen had Jabari's back. All these guys on the Rockets had each other's back, which was really cool to see. But, I mean, I'm not looking into this. It is just kind of, might be growing into a rivalry, but I think basketball needs more of this. And I see all these people on Twitter talking about, this is, disgraceful, blah, blah, blah. This is why DeJounte wasn't fit for the Spurs. And maybe that is true, but, it just kind of shows me, like, you never played competitive basketball. You've definitely never played pickup basketball. So, like, this is what is so fun about it. You want to be loose and free, and if I'm doing good, if I'm DeJounte Murray and I got 43 points, I'm gonna talk my shit. That's how that works. So that's not everyone's gonna do that, but there are players who will do that.
So is it inner beef or beef with the Houston Rockets?
No, it's just guard beef, and I don't even think it's really beef. I just think it's more, the Rockets, Jabari felt a little disrespected. Jalen felt disrespected. They just kind of poked fun at each other on social media, and it's just like, to me, like, might be the start of a growing rivalry here.
So
I think the NBA needs more of it.
So DeJounte and Trae basically being vets, they just like dish shade at the Rockets young guys.
Yeah, and people were like, well, he patted him in the head after he drained a three in front of Jabari, and I don't like showboating. Jalen Green flexed on Kate Cunningham in his third or fourth NBA basketball game. They didn't even win the game. I think Rocket fans didn't like it because, or people didn't like it because it was like, oh, you're Trae Young and DeJounte Murray. You guys have been in the league. You're, rising superstars, and you're clashing, you're showboating against the worst team in the NBA. Like, well, yeah. Yeah.
So it's just them being petty.
They were showboating, they were petty. Yeah, and it's just, I thought it was funny. I didn't even, yeah. It'll just be cool to see the Hawks. I think it makes
it'd be a cool rivalry if in like 5 years the Houston Rockets are good and aren't still tanking.
the
with
NBA
Steven
doesn't have these
Styles.
rivalries anymore, and it makes like now for example, like think Ben Simmons versus Philly. Like now when we play Atlanta next, or when Atlanta fans play us next, like these are games you want to tune into, even though it's game 28 of 82, and it doesn't really mean anything quite yet. This is good for basketball, in my opinion.
Oh no, it's great.